Well, hello, the whole pastorblog.org. This is TWP Conversations. I'm Bobby Contreras, and I'm here with a very good friend of mine who I care about a lot. I care about his family. This is David Chancellor. David Chancellor, tell us who you are, what you do, maybe a little bit how we know each other.
It's funny. Normally, I think folks who've maybe watched me on TV for a time here in San Antonio might think that that's who I think I am. And I think I probably was. But in the last several years, I'm proud to say that I really see myself more as Luke and Emery's dad, and Aubrey's husband, and Renee's son. Family, trying to connect more with family. And I find myself doing that more, becoming more nostalgic, and longing more for family time now, not just because of COVID-19 and all the things that we've gone through, but some of the things that I've gone through personally, physically, and emotionally. My name is David Chancellor. I work down here at News 4 San Antonio. Did local sports for 20 some odd years. And then a couple of years ago, got a chance to become a news anchor and move to the morning and noon news team, and was really scared to leave something that was so familiar, and I felt so comfortable doing, and then to expose myself essentially, and doing something that I had never done. And for folks who are like, well, it's, what's the difference? It's sports, it's news, it's whatever. It's completely different, and yet it's not. You're still telling stories. So all of that was really weird. It kind of makes up who I am. But you and I know each other. I have a connection to your church, our church, because my wife and I were married there in December of 2007. Wanted to make sure I got that right. The former pastor that worked there, Charlie Simons, Aubrey, my wife, knew him from his days at MacArthur High School. And so that's how we ended up there. And then our kids, your daughters and my son and daughter know each other from Cambridge Elementary. And we have mutual friends. And quite honestly, we were looking for a place to go and to spend Sunday mornings and reconnect with community. And I'm very guilty of never leaving the bubble, as so to speak, in Alamo Heights. And a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, said, well, you got to go check Bobby out. And I knew you, and we had spoken at school events, but I had never come and heard you speak. And I think you were getting a chance. The church hadn't been handed over, if that's the correct term. And so we went and watched you, listened to you. And I was mesmerized how you told stories. And that's really, that's where my background comes into play, and that's really who I gravitate. I like to be around people who can tell stories, whether I disagree with them, agree with them, love them, don't. But I just loved your message and how you told those things and how you made it so relatable. And then we just got to be friends. And then, quite honestly, we got to be cancer buddies. I think that's probably an inappropriate term for a very inappropriate disease, but we did. And I'm proud to say that our relationship and friendship has grown from there.
Yeah, man. So good. You said it perfectly. And let me say this. So yes, people know you from News 4. I miss your radio days too. So people know you from ESPN radio. You and Ari were like one of the highlights of my day. And so I miss that. But let me also say this. You are a better and you are a awesome husband to Aubrey and father to Luke and Emery. And I get to see that. Not everyone gets to see that, but I get to see that, and it is spectacular. And I am a champion of you for that first, before News 4. Nothing against News 4, but I will champion you as a father and as a husband all day long.
That makes me real. Yeah, that means a lot. That means a lot. I appreciate you saying that because I feel the same about you. This is what I love about you, and I love about what you're doing with this is I think so many people, and I'm like this, like I believe in God and religion and its place in humanity, but my faith is infant small compared to yours. And that's okay, because my journey is different than yours, and you've helped me see that. And it's your job to bring me along, and it's my job to sometimes say, hey, hold on, I don't know what's going on. Hey, I'm tested. Hey, why does he do this? Like, I'm questioning this. And what I really like is the fact that it's never preachy, it's never judgy, it's always a conversation between friends. And so I always respect you first and foremost as a husband and father as well, and then as a pastor. So that compliment means a real lot to me. It means a lot.
It's huge, man. Hey, so one quick little memory, and then we'll jump into why I wanted you to be on this conversation. But so our kids started connecting. Luke and Ella have been in the same class, started the same cohort since kindergarten, and even excited. I know fall's going to be different, but I'm excited for them to whatever it looks like, and that they're in it together. Emery and all of our youngest, they're a year apart, but both kids, or all four of our kids, run the same t-ball team you were coaching. And
That's right. That's right.
Huge moment from my life. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but I'm going to air it out right here. So you were coaching, you and Rusty, Jason and I were helping out, and you and I don't remember what game it was, but we go onto the field together. The kids just got done batting. We go onto the field as they take their positions, and you and I are sitting kind of in between shortstop and second. We're there. They're chasing kids around. Good times. But you said, hey, have they decided you're going to be pastor yet? And you walked with me that whole process. And I said, no, not yet. And you were like, I'll never forget this. What are they waiting for? And you said, hey, I'm praying for you. My fingers are crossed. It's going to be okay. Huge moment for me in my life, man. And so I remember that like if it was yesterday. And you and Aubrey and the kids have been there. It's been 3 years. We've been doing this 3 years together.
Wow.
In that role. And so grateful for you. I'm glad you're here.
Well, let me say this real quickly before we jump into it. And because you won't, I don't know whoever's watching this, I don't know where you go to church. I don't know if you do go to church, but if you are looking for a pick-me-up, a lift, and you can do it online right now. And then once we get back to normal, we'll be back there in that beautiful white building off of Broadway. Come see my friend, Bobby Contreras at Alamo Heights Baptist Church. You don't have to be Baptist because you just sit down and you enjoy the word, the story from my friend who, I think tells it better than anyone. So that said, now we move along.
That's awesome. So this was geared toward pastors across the state of Texas. So I hope humbly, I'm grateful for your message, and maybe we'll get pastors at our church on Sunday morning.
Absolutely.
Hey, so you spoke a little bit to last year. We had a very similar, really going into 2019, and 2019 was heavy for both of us. And I wanted to bring you onto this TWP conversation because while we're encouraging people, men, pastors, families to be intentional in their physical health, sometimes our physical health is out of our control. You and I both experienced that, and it's a story that it's worth telling. And so you wrote a Facebook post a couple weeks ago, and I have it printed out right here, and I just want to highlight something, and then I want you to go into the story a bit and why this inspired me, and what I hope inspires other people that even if they don't have a cancer diagnosis like you and I have had, but just endurance and being intentional in fighting whatever people are fighting. And so you said this. You said, I ran a solo half marathon last weekend because, well, that's the question. It sparked the idea. There was no race on Saturday, no cheering section, no souvenir t-shirt or car sticker that reads 13.1. So obvious question, why do it? Why run 240 miles for 10 weeks just to run 13.1 miles alone on a Saturday in June? I can tell you why I didn't do it. I didn't do it for cancer. I'm sick of that disease. I'm so sick of it robbing me and my family from enjoying the last few springs. Man, huge. And so what are we talking about? Why did you do it?
All right. So 2 2 springs ago, go back even further, 2 winters ago, I was in Minnesota for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how God and life works. But I was there, we were doing a bunch of stories, and the photographer I was with when we were doing interviews, he was always shooting, the person, and you would always see the back of my neck interviewing. And so when I was editing, I kept noticing this little mole or mark that I would never have seen on the back of my neck. And I noticed it and kept noticing it. And I just, from a vanity standpoint, thought, oh, that's ugly. And ended up, it was melanoma, and it was skin cancer. And I had it taken out. And there's it's crazy. It was like yay big. I don't know if viewers will be able to see this, but it wasn't terribly big, and yet the scar that it left behind physically is 8-9 inches. It goes well into my hairline and well down in my collar, and the emotional scar was significant because I was afraid of the sun, obviously, for that entire summer, most of the next year. And just as I kind of start to get over that, I found out that you had cancer. And it brought back a lot of my fears and worries. And I had something going on at the time that I didn't think anything of. And I had a lump in my groin area. You had something similar. You had testicular cancer. I didn't think it was that, but I wasn't sure. And so talking with you, listening to you, feeling what I had felt and what you were feeling kind of spurred me to go and really do some, find some doctors. And it took several doctors to figure out what I had. And they took that thing out. And at the time they told me it was this rare form of cancer. And as you well know, we spent a lot of time talking about what that meant and seriousness and life after all of this, meaning death. And you knew how scared I was. Yeah. And it was weird for me to rely on you because I knew you were still coping with your own scares and fears of mortality and all of that. So it was a real weird mix, but we pulled each other through. Anyway, they took the tumor out. And only then discovered that it was an even rarer, if that's the right word, benign tumor. Yeah. And so, that was kind of in a nutshell everything. And it took a long time to heal from everything. And so this spring, when COVID started and all of that, initially it was like, carrying 10 extra pounds around, like I should just lose some weight. But then it was like I just thought, well, there's other things to do, and I just want to run. Like I just want to run. I want to think. That's the only time in the ways that I can think. And so I started doing this, and that spurred on this idea of what we are now calling Chance's cheering section. And the line there, why run 240 miles to run 13.1 on any sort of given Saturday? You add up all the miles it takes to train, and that was 240. And like I said, I didn't run with anybody. My kids weren't out holding signs or water. And it's not a pat on my back. It was just more of a, hey, I just want to prove to myself and my insides that I could do this. And I didn't want to make it about cancer because I was so sick of it. And I wanted to celebrate my life this spring, not run from it, if that makes any sense. And so we tried to, what I'm hoping to do is to turn that story and that Facebook post, which you can find on my Facebook page, into a citywide cheering section. So go there, and if there's something, as I say in the post, like if there's something you want to do with your life, change, eliminate, fix, improve upon, build upon, whatever, anything tiny, anything huge, post it, put it down, put it down in print. I find that helps me. And then it's public. And then all of us can go there and we can, for example, if you said, I'm Bobby and I want to bike 100 miles, whatever. You put it down and then it's like, all right, Bobby, let's do this. And then let's check back with you in a week, in a month. What are your steps? What are you doing? And it's not I'm not trying to be pushy about things. I just think that a lot of times we all need a little bit of a push, a lot of encouragement to do some things. And again, whether it's big or small, I think there's so much negativity. I read it every single morning, all of the bad stuff in the world, and I'm sick of it. And I think you are too. And I think it's time that we figured out a way to inspire people, not just on Sunday mornings, but on Wednesday mornings and Tuesday afternoons and Friday nights and any time in between.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. I loved it. A couple more lines. Let me just make mention to this. What's your Facebook page that people can check out?
I think it's at David Chancellor News 4 SA. There's a I guess what they call a personal page and then a professional page. The professional page where this is posted, it's at the top, and it's me looking behind a coffee cup.
Cool. So, yeah, I don't have Facebook either, so I trust you. I believe you. But it's hashtag Chances Cheering Section.
Yeah.
And if people can post there, there's a couple more things I want to highlight. You said there is nothing I enjoy more than setting a goal and then working to achievement. Man, if there's anything that whoever's watching this on the whole pastor, so we're looking holistically at the pastor, at the person, at a leader, and saying, hey, there are some things that we have to work on. And so here it is, setting a goal and then working to achieve it. And I think the biggest thing, sorry, go ahead.
Here's and I literally did that to heart. Like I had a book, notepad, and I found a plan online of running a marathon in 10 weeks. And so they spelled it out right for me. So that part was easy, but I would chart it every day of what I ran, how fast I ran, the calories I burned. And I didn't use it to go back through and be like, well, I'm going to beat myself from, the week before or whatever. I used it as a way to motivate myself to like, I got to put something down today. I got to enter something today. So if I skip today's run, then I have to put a blank. And I found that was a good way of motivating myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really good, man. I think you also mentioned that I think it's super important for folks listening and watching is you said write it and make it public. So you just mentioned journaling, write it. You don't want to blank. So write it down. But also, I super agree with you. And this is why I try to tell all my friends what it is that I'm crazy ideas or not so crazy ideas. Because when you make it public, people are going to hold you accountable. They're going to ask you questions about it. And you don't want to let your family down. You don't want to let your friends down. And so we need that encouragement. We need that accountability. We've said it this way on this blog is that relationship is currency. I have currency with you. With our group of friends, there's currency. And when I text you, there's some accountability that I have with you. And the same when you let me in and let me know, there's the same relational currency. Yeah. And that's huge. That's important. So find a group of people. If it's the whole city of San Antonio cheering at the Chances cheering section, or if it's an intimate group of people, I think it's important to find those people. You are one of those people for me, man. I'm super grateful for that.
I appreciate that.
So one of the last things, and you just said this, and man, I hadn't heard you say this, but I think this is huge. I'm gonna steal it from you, whether you like it or not. But you just said you are sick of it. You're tired of cancer. Cancer sucks. It really sucks, man.
Yeah, it does.
And so before I make this statement, I'm a year of no traces of cancer. You're a year, all right? You're about past the year point as well. Yeah. And so thank God for that. And man, we just keep pushing together. Our 2020 family goal is to be cancer free. So my next appointment is February 2021. That'll mark my second year. So that's what we're praying for, that there's no more cancer. And so we know that we're praying that for you and your family as well. Celebrate life, don't run from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had never, it's funny, we talk about these things. I mean, I've talked about all of this for years now, and it always gets me because I always think of my kids. When you were talking earlier about family and stuff, and when you said cancer sucks, it's funny, my kids are at the age now where sometimes they'll say such and such sucks, and we're like, hey, you can't say that. Like, that's not appropriate for a young kid. And especially my son. And it made me think back to how angry he was when he saw the scar, and he was mad at my doctor. And I said, yeah, God, don't be mad at my doctor. Like, he's a hero. Like, he didn't do this. Cancer did this. Like, he took it out. But the whole idea of celebrating life, I had never heard that phrase when it came to death. And for folks who live in Alamo Heights, years ago, a young man named Sam Dibble died. He passed away. And I did a story on him and became really connected to his family. And I can't talk about Sam or the incident or his death or his parents without breaking down for 1,000 different reasons. I'm not going to go into detail other than to say this. I remember hearing, and they still do it, they have every year on his birthday a celebration of his life, and all of his family and all of his old friends all get together and they share stories and they talk about what's going on now. And I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. But I always stole that phrase because I just thought, that's so interesting. We don't do that enough. We don't celebrate life. We worry about life. We stress about life. We get happy about certain quick moments or vacations or maybe a new shirt or a car we buy or whatever it is. But we don't celebrate the monotony of every single day. And this isn't to say that we're going to. I mean, I sound like some sort of, positive Pete, and that's not me. Like that, people who know me know I am hardcore. I am, tough as nails a lot of time, and I can be a real jerk if things don't go the way I want them to go. So don't, I don't want to come across as fake or disingenuous, but I will say that every single day for me, like, I'm always amazed at you because you talk about, I know this about you. Every day you are looking to make your relationship with God even better, even deeper, even closer. I could only dream of having a goal like that. So my goal is to celebrate my life and the lives of my family and kids, especially, every single day. That's what I strive to do. And I fail miserably almost every single day. But I think it's something, like you said, worth putting down on in paper and saying, this is what we're going to try to do, guys. We're going to try to do this.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I think you don't give yourself enough credit, man. You're solid. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that we're going to celebrate our lives together. We're going to celebrate our wives' lives, our kids' lives together. And we're going to run together. I know we're not going to run from this, and we're going to take people with us. So I had Jason on this conversation, and we're running with Jason. And there's other families around us that we're going to run with. And so I'm grateful for you, and I'm glad you're here with me.
Here, I want to say this. I love the idea of what you've done with the blog and tying in, as I told you in a text. I hope you don't mind. I like the idea that you've tied in passions. Like, when I think of you, I think of God, I think of family, and I think of fitness. You are incredibly active, and that is a passion of yours. I don't think it's the greatest passion in your life, because I think your faith is, and then I think your kids and your wife are, but it all is tied together. And for me, what I've found with people is, if they're getting out and getting active, no matter what that is, seem to have a better, I mean, this is proven. It's science. Like, you just seem to have a happier, smile on your face. You know, whether you're trying to lose 50 pounds or just, get into a pair of pants that you wore last spring. Fitness is a huge goal for all of us. And especially now, it's scientifically proven, the fitter you are, hopefully, the healthy you are when it comes to everything that we're all dealing with currently.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. And I'll throw this interjection in there too. Even I felt like I was the healthiest I ever was last year, and Super Bowl Sunday, man, bathroom break at watching the Super Bowl, and there's something there, and it turned out to be cancer. But even in that, man, we can run with each other. You were a big inspiration of mine last year to get back to where I needed to be, not just spiritually, but physically. Like you, I did get a T-shirt because I did a triathlon.
I know. I was jealous of that. I told Jason, I said, I want that bag, that Alamo Heights triathlon bag that Bobby has. And he's like, yeah, you got to earn that. You got to earn that.
Oh man, I don't know if I earned it, because it was tough. It was not, and I don't know if they're doing that race this August again, but if they are, man, I'm going to do it again. And for me, it's exactly to what you just said. It's not celebrating the cancer, but it's celebrating that God took us through a heavy place. But we came out of it stronger. My marriage is stronger. I mean, Hannah had to put up with stuff during that season, and Aubrey did too. And we're stronger in that. Ella and Olive, it is not a day that goes by that one of them asks me, can this cancer come back? Can you get a different kind of cancer? And I know Luke and Emery, it's something that our kids are going to have to question and think about. So in that, you and I can be an example, a leader, of strong faith and courageous men facing whatever it is that we're facing. It's COVID. It's the world that we're living in today. It's what's fall going to look like for our families. And so I'm going to run with you, man, and I'm going to cheer you on too.
Appreciate it. I'll end by saying this, as guys, and that's kind of how you started. Like, men hide things, they hide their feelings, they don't want to talk about things, whether it's with their spouses or their kids or their parents, and certainly not with other guys. We got to end that. That's cliche. That's from the 50s. We don't need to do that. We don't need to be that anymore. We need to cheer each other on. We need to be each other's biggest fans. I'm yours. Or certainly one of your biggest, because you got a lot of them. I love you. I love what you do. And I love what you have done for my family. It's greatly appreciated.
Oh man, I love you too. I'm humbled. I'm humbled to have this conversation and to be your buddy. And so thank you. The whole pastorblog.org. This was a treat for you. So watch this over and over and over again, and cheer David on, and I know he and I will cheer you on. So love you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. See you guys.